Welcome guys to another Rome Total War 2 online commentary battle. This time I am playing as Carthage versus Macedon. I'm going to set this to fast forward straight off. Actually no I'm not, because I'm going to show you my army. I brought Giant Ballista and my opponent has decided rather than run at me with his massive elite army, he's just going to leave and try and run around what is the range of these ballista. Now you see, I don't know why, but in the time that it takes to run all the way around here, I cannot possibly turn a ballista, so sod it, not taking these things again, even though they're cool, but they're just firing at the moment. But I'll show you my army. 4 units of African pikemen with a chevron upgrade, 3 units of Libyan infantry, their swordsmen with an upgrade in chevron upgrade, 2 units of Sacred Band unupgraded, and 2 units of late Carthaginian hoplites. I have 1 unit of African war elephants, the Giant Ballista, my generals in a noble cavalry unit, and 2 units of Carthaginian cavalry with a chevron upgrade. Okay, what has my opponent brought? My opponent has brought Macedonians, which is, worrying from the start. 6 foot companions and 5 companion cavalry and 2 Cretan archers. This is an elite unit spam. It's pretty rough, and it's a plague that currently Rome 2 is really suffering from. Is the fact that balance-wise, there's just no point taking any other units than the best of the best. So factions like Athens, factions like Carthage, generally struggle in the online game because they can't actually bring any super elite heavy infantry such as foot companions. I mean, Macedon is one of the most powerful because it has so many options: royal peltasts, foot companions, companion cavalry, companion aspis cavalry. They've got good archers, but that doesn't matter. I mean, archers have no real effect currently at the moment. What else do they have? Oh yeah, and shield bearers. So they've got the best some of the best hoplites, some of the best phalanx, potentially the best cavalry of both shock and melee, and and royal peltasts are damn kick-ass. But so he's run down this hill, which I was sort of hoping would give me an advantage. At least I'm uphill, sort to him. But he's run down this hill and is moving his army around. So rather than try to wait it out, which would just end up in a draw, I decided to move towards him while his army's clumped up like this. Now my army's moving forward. See how his men are all grouped up here, right? This will sort of come into the fact. He's moving some cavalry around. I've got a unit of African war elephants, Carthaginian cavalry on this flank, but I'm going to try and catch him out while he's in this big clumped up formation. And they're tired as well. These guys are tired. Like, they're not. These guys have been running. Mine are fresh. So he's tired his troops out by running them downhill into a worse position. So I thought maybe I can take them. But anyway, so my men are moving in. I move my elephants to the right, hoping that when you're all clumped up like this, and my pikemen can get them fixed, if my elephants can get in there and kick some ass, then maybe I can just destroy them in one massive clump. Just pure shock value of the elephants. Anyway, so he moves up his Cretans here. He's going to start just shooting at my African pikemen, which are now tired a little, but these guys should be tiring pretty quickly as well. I bring up these guys, and they're taking fire. They do take a bit of damage, but these are Cretans firing into the flank of African pikemen, and these pikemen don't seem to care. Like, they've got maybe lost 3 men so far, 4 men. It's not all that bad, and I just stop them and I just turn them around, and they'll be fine. I say that, well, they die a little bit, but they're not too bad. They're taking 2 units, and they're not the best units. Elite units just take very little damage from it at all. Rather than have my unit completely get massacred, I do actually try to move in some support with the cavalry here. And I get them into phalanx mode. I bring down some Libyan infantry round to this side and my Sacred Band. Now, I want to engage with the Carthaginian cavalry on these lot just long enough for my Sacred Band to reach the fight. It's at this point that I decide to start moving my phalanxes forward and trying to cut down these foot companions. Notice how I've got thick blocks of infantry. They're designed to be in thick blocks. That's how phalanxes form. They did not fight in this thing, which is a pansy little sort of formation of. It's relatively deep, but some of them get really thin. So he charges my Carthaginian cavalry, as I was sort of hoping, and I use my Sacred Band to come into the flank. Now they should be pretty good. They're hoplites they're fighting against. Things cavalry. Now, I start moving my pikemen forward, and in response, I move some Libyan infantry here. I kind of try to ward off this attack here, using my elephants, but then he just runs, so I feel like, sorry, I'll just go. Anyway, over here, his companions have already routed off a Carthaginian cavalry. Without taking too many, you know, they have taken barely any damage at all so far. Like, even being chased around, they're taking not all that much damage. Over here I have these foot companions flanked and circled. They're head up fighting with, not even in phalanx mode, I may point out. They're not in phalanx mode and they're fighting against the phalanx. These guys were already routed off an African pikeman unit in just a very little time. Sacred Band are thrown in here to plug the gap. He has some stuff here. I bring in elephants. These guys eventually look like they're about to rout, but it took their sweet time. Then the elephants come in and they go straight into run amok from the fire arrows. But these foot companions are going to get flank on my African pikemen who are not behaving, whereas these, you know, foot companions, they're doing alright on the front. I should have really watched this unit a bit better. But over here, he's got another foot companions fighting, again, not in phalanx mode, and they're doing fine. His cavalry, which has been fighting some Sacred Band all game, have still pretty good. There's really not many horse bodies around for it. He's got this noble cavalry's coming around here. I've got freed up these units to come into the flank. At the moment, I'm thinking, good, this looks really good. We've got him flanked, his cavalry's held down, should be fine. This unit taking some casualties, but they've killed just as many African pikemen, despite not fighting in phalanx mode or anything like that. These late Carthaginian hoplites come in to help. Now over here, I figure I should probably win this with two flanking units. Nope, they start trying to leg it. My general, who's in a noble cavalry unit, is fighting a companion cavalry unit and getting pretty badly slaughtered. Here you go, Libyan infantry just legging it as soon as they see those pikes. Despite having the flank initially, they've just routed almost infantry. Infantry? Immediately, they've just crumbled morale-wise. These foot companions fighting over here. His companion cavalry still in relatively good shape. They were fighting Sacred Band for ages. But my noble cavalry get absolutely wiped to shreds and just run before his companion cavalry debate leaving. His foot companions do look pretty roughed up by my African pikemen who are just prodding him in the back, but they're not going to last very long either because they have companions coming into the back of them. But what this came down to was very simply my opponent brought lots of elite units. Now, this unit has been fighting these guys for ages, and they're like African pikemen, whatever. He's only just put them in phalanx mode, but these guys are massive. They do not worry about anything in a fight. When it comes to a fight, they just sit there and they just take whatever. I mean, I've got this unit sitting around here that chased off some cavalry, but they're not going to be able to do all that much, and the game ends very soon. But at the moment, all we're seeing on Rome Total War 2 multiplayer is just these massive spams of elite units. They're not very good. Sorry, they're not very inventive. They're not even very interesting. But they are just massive spams, and it's used because they're so much better pound for pound, and they're so much, you know, their stats make them so superior to any sort of other infantry. They can usually fight through most encirclements. They have, you know, you cannot break them. I mean, these companion cavalry, there's like the lowest is 23. And they've been fighting Sacred Band hoplites. They should have been dead a long time ago. But if you take, for example, my Carthaginian cavalry, got smashed, like absolutely destroyed. There is no point in this game taking non-elite units, because at the moment they're just so weak and they struggle so much that they actually just will lose a fight. Straight, like, you can encircle your opponent, you can hit him with cavalry in the flank, but quite often you'll see that your opponents bring a whole long line of elite infantry and then just charge them into you, and they will still come out the other end absolutely fine. My opponent, he did alright, and we both made micro mistakes, but I have to say, like, his entire flank on Rome Total War would have just crumbled. He had elephants in it, he had 2 units of swordsmen chopping down his phalanx in the side, He didn't have his phalanx in phalanx mode for the majority of the fights, and he still came out. You know, they lasted ridiculously long time. I managed to rout one companion unit. It's a bit absurd at the moment. But I'm having some fun on other games. It's just a bit sort of rubbish that at the moment you have to come in with all these big, heavy infantry units like Sparta or Rome, or who else is quite big? The Iceni and the Oathsworn of the Averni are just so strong that if you see those factions picked, you're more than likely just going to come up against those units, because they're just so much better pound for pound than your light units. And light units have no worth whatsoever. Like, I would love to see Carthage have some Iberian units, because Iberians, the Iberian swordsmen, best swordsmen in the world, arguably, at the time of the Punic Wars. They were just vicious. They were just known and feared across, all Romans feared them. But in this, they will melt and run and die so quickly, it's not even worth bringing them to a fight. They've got no armour, and it shows. They've got a right attack, but that's about it. Don't bother bringing them. But otherwise, it was a fun game. I'm sort of still enjoying the campaign, and I'm hoping they balance out these issues, because this is a rant video, because I'm so tired. I've come up against like Hellenic phalanx, Hellenic champion, Hellenic something like that, Hellenic elite phalanx units spams. I've come up against Iceni heroic swordsmen and heroic riders spams. I've come up against Roman Praetorian spams. I've come up. Macedon always brings ridiculously heavy things, and oh yeah, and it's worth mentioning that my elephants killed a whole 36 men this game. They did nothing. They literally did very little. They hit this unit and melted. So they should have, elephants, scythe chariots, don't bother bringing them. They have no worth at the moment. They don't do anything. They hit the lines, and it's just the most underwhelming piece of action you will ever see. Like, I've seen scythe chariots go into horsemen, and the horsemen not take any damage. I've tried that before. I've tried throwing scythe chariots into companion cavalry. You would have thought a box of spikes going down, chopping off horses' legs, massive speed, do something. No, it's just not possible. But anyway, I'm going to stop ranting and leave it there. So stay safe, guys. I'm going to bring you some more battles, and hopefully they'll be a bit more interesting than this one. Final point, CA, get some actually balanced maps on. All your maps have got like these really dodgy hills that start in the wrong place, and both teams don't ever have any incentive to rush hills, or either because one of them's already on a hill, and then it tends to be one giant mountain slope up. It's just really difficult to play. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. So you guys stay safe and ignore my ranting.